Welcome back to another episode of the Greatest Day podcast. Today, a question coming in from a member of the Inner Greatness community. If you don't know about this community and what it is, over time, I figured out that there needed to be a way for me to reach more people at a lower price point, but still give amazing content, low touch kind of coaching here and there, but then also kind of go deeper on some things. And so I created the Inner Greatness community. Actually, really the place that it goes from. And I need to send a message to this client. I'm going to send a message to this client today. Old client, haven't seen them in a long time. But they asked me one day, they're like, man, every time I come in here, I end up feeling so much better about my situation. Like I have a different perspective. Like, Craig, you help me with the perspective. You help me find like a new way of looking at something. I get new hope restored inside of my system, and I'm able to just go back out into my life feeling better, more energized, more hopeful, more positive. I need that in my life every day. If I just had a way to like have access to like a therapist, Craig, in my pocket every day, a therapist in my pocket. That's what I need. I need every day to be like, pull my phone out and boom, there's like some inspiration, there's some motivation, there's some support in my phone. I have access to you. That'd be best. And I was like, that's a genius idea. I'll create the Inner Greatness community. And so every day there's some kind of content posted, and weekly we're doing a coaching call. And for a while we had experts coming in. During the summer it slowed down, people's availability just really slowed down, but getting back to that, we've missed I think a couple of months, but getting back to experts coming in and pouring into the people inside of this Inner Greatness community. And so another feature is that people just have access to me, and they ask questions, and I give my feedback, and I give responses to their questions. And one of the things that came up recently from a member inside of the Inner Greatness community was just struggling with this like new transition in life of like moving forward in life. And because kids are getting older, they're kind of losing out on traditions, and they're having to move forward without their kids joining them on these things that they've been a part of for so long. And although they didn't ask me like really a direct question, they just kind of voiced some of these kind of just grief and sadness and like a sense of loss in this area of life. I was like, you know what? That's a great topic that I'm going to take back to the community, and I'm going to give there. So sometimes I will take these topics and I'll present them here on the podcast. And I only give a snippet of it. I only give like a little bit of it, and then I take the rest back to the community. And that's one of the benefits of being in the community, is I dive much deeper into these topics. So let me just give you today here on the podcast, just a couple, maybe like 5 or 6 little points if you're in that similar place of you're just kind of trying to navigate some of this transition of life, right? Like you're moving on in life, your kids are aging, they're getting older, you're losing out on some of these old traditions and activities that like, oh, we used to do that as a family, or we used to do that even as a couple. And like, I think some of this input will fit in multiple areas of your life. But like, how do you just kind of grieve? How do you just feel that stuff and like acknowledge it and begin to move forward? I'm gonna give you a few little pointers. So the first one being is that we just have to acknowledge those feelings. Like you're there. This is one of those phases in life that's gonna show up, and it is kind of sad. And so we just kind of acknowledge it, right? Like sometimes we're trying to run away from those things, and it's like just be there. Just be there. Like it's a new chapter. Just go, okay, it's okay for me to feel that. It's okay for me to feel that. And then another point is to know that as old traditions go away, perhaps this is an opportunity to create new traditions. And so, yes, while it's an end of one era, it can be a beginning to a new one. and you can start to create new traditions. Also, celebrate, right? Like take time to like celebrate. Well, maybe it's not even celebrate. Maybe it's more of like reflection. So reflect on the good times. Reflect on like, oh, yes, those are the things that we used to do and they felt so good. And I'm just gonna sit here, right? This specific person was at a location that they would take their kids to very often, and now she was there by herself. And one thing that you can do if that's a situation you're in is just sit there and be like, yeah, I remember this time we did that, and I remember another time we were here, this event happened, and just reflect. Just like, yeah, there's some good times, there's some good things that have happened. Just reflect on them. With the aging and kind of phase shifting of your kids getting older, it also begins to free up time in your schedule and your calendar. And so, what are you going to pursue now for you? As they're growing in their independence, you can also start to take some of that back. Maybe there were some things that you started to do before you had kids, and it's like, I can get back to that stuff now. I can go back to school, or I can begin this new hobby, or what kind of interests do you have? And if it's been a while since you've looked at that, now is a wonderful time as your kids are getting older and needing you less, and truthfully wanting you less. It's an amazing time for you to be like, what do I actually have interest in, and pursue some of that stuff. And I think also along the lines is like, let's communicate. Take it as an opportunity for you to be able to communicate with your kids or your teenagers, or as they're getting older. It's like, being able to, excuse me, being able to like just open up those conversations with your teenagers and be like, how do we want to spend time together? What is it that we want to do together? And just having it just can be a promotion of um, more conversations and learning and growing together. Also, you're not alone. So maybe a couple more things to think about. You're not alone in this. Like maybe there's others around you with similar aged kids. They're going through similar things. Like connect with people who might be going through similar things. Almost like uh, a support group for parents with age with kids who are too cool for parent support group. I don't know, something like that, right? But connect. Others are going through the same thing. Find a way to connect with them and seek additional support. Also, coaching, therapy, program, all these different things are like always a great opportunity to like, I just want to be heard. I just want to share, like, this sucks. I want to be heard by somebody. Therapy is always a great place for that. Um, and then maybe the last little piece would be something like, inside of this, there is sadness. I talked about the first thing was like acknowledge your feelings, right? So the last part might be to just have some self-compassion on this thing. It's not easy. None of these transitions in life are meant to be like a cakewalk. They're not all easy. So have some self-compassion for yourself in, shoot, this is just where I'm at in life. And I don't like it. I don't feel very good. And it's okay. You don't have to be so harsh on yourself. You can find a way to be compassionate while you're acknowledging these feelings, connecting with others, reflecting on the good times that you've had, even talking with your teenagers or your kids about these things, and just normalizing this experience. It is kind of a bummer. I'm almost there in my own life, as one of my oldest is kind of getting to that place. So yeah, I imagine it'd be a very difficult thing as the last one reaches that phase, and now they're kind of all gone. So hopefully some things in here a little bit, just little things for you to think about, and helpful in this new transition, this new phase for you as a parent, and just kind of getting through some stuff, right? So anyway, hopefully a little helpful for you. And again, if you're looking for that extra kind of community support and finding that connections with others, and getting more in depth in some of these responses, definitely check out the Inner Greatness community and come join us over there. Lots of amazing things happening, and always learning, growing, evolving together. So, all right, I will see you on the next episode.